What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Comic-Con Podcast, Season 2, Episode 45. We are recording this on November the 16th because we like doing things early, and it's your boy Nemesis Prime hosting the show with my man, Zack, all the way out in Texas. What's going on, buddy?
Not much. It's dark here. It's 6 o'clock my time, and it looks like it is 10 p.m. here. I don't really like this, dude, because I don't like waking up early. So that shit's like bullshit. I got to wake up early to get sunlight. It's fucking nonsense.
Dude, let me tell you, I've been talking I've been telling the wife this week, like probably literally the past week, this whole time change, like daylight savings. I've been waking up at like 5 a.m. every morning.
Really?
Like wide awake. And I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I need to go back to sleep for at least another hour and a half before, like, if I'm going to wake up early and go to the gym and stuff like that. But yeah, that first week was just the worst. I was just so tired. And then, like, I'd go back to sleep and then I'd wake up and it'd be too late for me to go to the gym in the morning. And I'm just like, well, fuck it. I guess I won't work out now.
That's your first mistake. Going to gym in the morning is the worst situation in the world. But,
hell no, man. Let me tell you, today is a crazy day. I woke up early. I went to the gym. I went to work. I came home. I ate. I went to spin class. I'm recording a podcast. And then after the podcast, I'm doing a whatnot sale. So let me tell you, I am the busiest, hardworking influencer out there.
I wish I could.
And I can't say that with a straight face.
I wish I could talk about the things that I do all day, but I can't. I can tell you how busy I am. But
I know you fly from coast to coast, so it's fine.
Space Coast, coast to coast, dude. Space Coast, coast to coast. That's who I am.
Yeah. So real quick, I want to thank everybody who reached out to me about my daily hygiene. And if you don't,
what?
and if you want to get that inside reference, you have to listen to our bonus content for Black Panther after you see it, and then you will get that inside joke.
I forgot about that. I was like, wait a minute, dude. That seems extremely private and personal that people are talking to you about your hygiene. That's not acceptable.
Yeah, well, so a couple people reached out to me. So again, to get that, you will have to go check out our bonus content, which we dropped our Black Panther Wakanda Forever review. So make sure you go listen to that after you've watched the movie, because there's a lot of spoilers. But let's get into this week's episode. We do have some great stuff to talk about. Let's get right into our community section. So we do have a community question, which I actually think is a very interesting community question. This one's coming over from Anthony C. Basically, he's asking, Justin and Zack, appreciate the podcast. I love listening to it every week. And also anytime you guys do bonus content for the movie reviews, it really gets different ways of listening to people's opinions. My question is, I understand how people are always trying to get newsstand copies of comic books in the late 2000s, how the print runs are really low, but how come nobody cares about direct stand copies of books back in the late 70s? And I actually think this is a really good question, because if you do watch Lords of the Long Box, Tim always brings this up anytime, typically on like the Shakers show, and he always shows this chart where it shows like the different print runs between newsstand and direct. Now, back in, and I love looking this up. So back in 1979, newsstand came up with 94% of the print runs for comic books, and direct stand was only 6%. In the late 2000s, you have newsstands were basically 5%, 2%, and then 1% by 2013, and the direct stands engulfed that. So how come people are always going crazy in like those late 90s, early 2000s, looking for newsstands and saying like, hey, I got a newsstand of this Batman book and it's selling for now 4 times as much, when the flip side is, if you look at books from like the 70s, obviously a lot of them are newsstands, but nobody ever is like trying to sell a direct stand for more money. Like, it's still the comic. So like, let's just say, for instance, like Batman, I don't know, probably in like the late 300s is like the late 70s. So it's just like Batman 379, near mint condition is $20 in direct and then $20 in newsstand. But how come the direct stand isn't worth more because of the fact that it actually has a lesser print run? So
interesting.
What do you think about this, man? I know you're not a big like newsstand, direct stand like hunter.
Right.
But
so I mean, in a nutshell, to break it down real quick too, just for people who may not, a lot of reasons people do hunt those newsstand is because, like Justin said, for the lower print run. So that's that's what the crux of the situation here that you're talking about, right? Is like, so why is the newsstand in the 90s the lower print run so hunted and sought after? when the reverse back in like what you said, like the 70s, right? Like the 70s Direct is also a lower print run. Why isn't that sought after and why isn't the price up? I got no answer, man. And a lot of times with the comic book community, shit don't make sense. It's just because people want to collect what the fuck people want to collect. You know what I mean? And
but I think we should start it. I feel like this podcast right now should start the revolution of making direct stands in the late 70s worth more. Like, I think I'm going to literally list the same. I'm going to go out and find books in the late 70s and start listing them at higher prices. And when people are like, why is this so much more? And people throw me under the bus on like Instagram, because, you know, people are like, when they see some high price of some random book, I'll be like, the print runs low. Why not? It's harder to come by in near mint condition.
Good luck with starting the revolution with that. I mean, I feel like that's
all of our listeners are now taking this into their ears and thinking about this. And I guarantee this will start the 2023 revolution of direct stands are worth more in the late 70s.
I'm sure it'll be as successful as the previous revolutions of why isn't CBCS worth the same as CGC, and why isn't Hulk 180 the first appearance of Wolverine? The same things. They won't. None of these will succeed.
Why are you trying to crush my dreams, bro?
I'm just trying to give you realistic expectations with the comic book community, because none of it makes sense, dude. None of it makes sense. Like, the comic book community, I love the community, but y'all, or we all are stupid. We're stupid. Like, there is no rhyme or reason to collecting. It's like you collect it, which is the beautiful part of collecting too, is you collect what you want to collect, right? Right. But like, none of this shit makes sense, dude. Like, one guy's like, oh, I like error books. Who the fuck gives a shit about an error book? But goddamn, if those prices aren't high as fuck on those. Or Mark Jewelers. Oh my God, dude. Like, I couldn't care less if I had a Mark Jeweler book at all. You know,
how about double covers and triple and quadruple covers?
I mean, is it cool? It's cool, I guess, like it would be if you go to the freak show and you see like a Elephant Man or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just weird and different. But like, do I give a shit? No, dude, I don't care. I don't care if I have triple covers or if I see a bearded lady. Like, it doesn't matter to me.
Can you imagine like a double cover of like ASM 1 or Action Comics 1? Like,
double covered Action Comics 1.
I feel like I want to go into a time machine, and I want to go to like the print shop where they put it together and just slip that second cover on and make sure it goes to someone that like I can then later pick it up.
That's what you do. That's your version of Back to the Future with like Biff Tannen when he gets the sports betting book. You're gonna go put double covers on stuff.
Yeah, just random books. I'm like, double covers.
Lot of work, bro, for like a little payout. You could do way easier stuff.
It's wild. Like, speaking, obviously, I brought up the double covers. Like, I think, the thing is, like, you don't ever look, right? If you just find a book, I guarantee if you went through all your books, probably more in like the Bronze and Silver Age, you probably have a double cover in one of your books, like Ghost Rider, your X-Men books, and you have no idea. Like, I remember that I have one double cover that I know about because it's graded. And the only reason why I know that is because it was the first appearance. It's the first appearance of Black Canary. And I sent it into CGC and it came back double cover. And I was like, whoa.
Oh, you sent it not knowing.
Not knowing.
Oh, wow.
No idea. And that's how much, like, I didn't even open up the book. I didn't even press the book because, like, if I would have pressed it, someone would have said, hey, you had a double cover, or obviously I would have opened it. I thought it was clean enough as it was. And maybe I wasn't pressing books back then when I sent that in, but it came back like an 8.0. And I mean, like, I can imagine, like, maybe if I did take it out and like pressed it, what would it come back and try to sell it? Because again, like you said, we're all stupid in the community. We all collect random stupid stuff, error books, Mark Jewelers, miscut books. Sometimes like even like cards is like that. Like a miscut card is worth more money, which is odd, but
look at it. So it's what, Justice League 75.
Yeah, just like her standing on top of somebody in a way, like it's like her bottom torso.
I did eBay and I'm looking for double cover of this book.
I'm telling you, people like Google that stuff.
Right? It's just her legs.
Yeah, it's just her legs. Yeah, it's an interesting book. Like, and I never knew about this. So like, people are,
And how do you price that? Like, how do you price?
Exactly.
And that's the thing too. It's collectibles, right? The price is what someone's willing to pay for it. So like a hard up, someone who's a massive Black Canary fan might be like, shit, I need that double cover. I need that double cover 8.0. You're going to get a message right now, probably for that shit.
Probably. Listen, I'd probably pay like $4,000 for a double cover Clone Wars 1. Without a doubt.
It's wild.
But great question, Anthony. Thank you so much for the community question. Of course, that was sent to our Instagram, the Comic-Con podcast Instagram.
I feel like we totally didn't even answer that question.
I mean, like
we just like talked around.
I know we talked around it. We beat around the bush, but I think it's. I said it. I think really we need to start a revolution. That was
That's right.
That's what my thing was. That was my retort. So, again, DM sent to us either through Instagram, my Instagram, Nemesis Prime, Madam Milton Emanuel, or the Comic-Con podcast, or the Comic-Con podcast at gmail.com, where you can drop anything over there as well. So, let's kind of get into some articles tonight. Zach's going to take us on a wild ride talking about some movie things. So let's get into, you want to do the sad news first? Let's talk about the sad news, right?
Yeah, let's do that first.
Let's drop some sad news. Let's take a moment of silence for our the greatest voice actor of our time, our Batman, Kevin Conroy. Well, again, thank you so much for that. So guys, people, boys and girls that grew up in the 90s, Batman the Animated Series is the pinnacle of animation for comic books, without a doubt.
Right.
The voice acting between Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill, and a plethora of other actors in that show. But man, Kevin Conroy, being Batman for 30 years, video games, movies, live action, showed up as Batman in the Batwoman crossover, Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah.
But man, it was tough. There's a time where we all, see our heroes, listen to our heroes over the years. I'm a huge Transformers fan, as most people know, like even and Star Wars stuff. Like there's a time where these people go. Zach and I went to Terrificon this year, and I don't know if you were with me at that time when he was walking in.
Oh yeah, it was both of us, because I remember we both were like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah, he looked like a skeleton.
Yeah,
he looked pretty bad. And at that time, like, nothing was said like that he was sick or anything. Obviously they keep that stuff to themselves, but a lot of people said that he came out to the cons, did it for the fans. I saw some pictures of people that took pictures with him at Terrificon, and it's sad. My fondest memories was definitely, I don't have anything signed by him, but I remember, I think it was 2016's New York Comic-Con. I went there with my local comic shop owner, Clockwork Comics and Cards in Union, New Jersey. And he brought his Batman the Animated Series DVD set, and he had Kevin sign it. And he was literally the last person in line. Like, Kevin was done for the day. He goes, "Hey, can I just do this?" And he didn't even charge him. He literally walked up and he just signed it, got a picture, and then I showed off my tattoo, and I got a picture with Kevin back then, like showing off my Batman tattoo. So that's like my fondest memory of Kevin Conroy throughout these years, and of course all the Arkham stuff. And there's so much to talk about. But Zach, what do you have to think about in this?
I mean, I remember obviously the Batman animated growing up, of course. Who doesn't? So our age group, like growing up with Batman animated. I think the thing that stands out most in my mind, though, is the Arkham video games, because I just love them so much. And it's really like a series of games that I go back to over and over and over again, and replay. And just hearing the voice of Batman in that, and Kevin Conroy is just amazing. So I found like a little quote here that I thought was really cool, because obviously, Batman animated, you had Kevin Conroy and, like Justin said, Mark Hamill opposite him as the Joker. So this is a quote from Mark Hamill. So he says, whenever he was asked about jobs and playing the Joker, he says, regarding his willingness to be involved in a Batman related project, Hamill says, "When they offer me roles now, I say, is Kevin doing it? I don't even have to read the script. If Kevin's doing it, I'll do it." So, I mean, that just kind of speaks to everyone's opinion of Kevin and knowing like his role as Batman. I mean, and it's just, we all say Batman animated, but it's like, it's not just Batman animated. I mean, it was Justice League Unlimited, all of the direct to TV or direct to video DC, majority of those DC animated movies, all the the really good ones. I mean, he's in everything. I'm reading this right now for, it says, in preparation for the theatrical release of the 2012 live action The Dark Knight Rises, Conroy redubbed Christian Bale's Batman lines for an animated version of one of the film's trailers as well. So I mean, he was the go-to. I mean, he was the guy,
He was the GOAT.
So, he unfortunately died on November 10th of intestinal cancer. Obviously, he'd probably been battling it for a very long time, but he didn't, like Justin said, didn't publicly disclose that he was ill. So, yeah, it's very, very sad. And it leaves a very large gap for any Batman animated voice acting moving forward.
Yeah, he's definitely, one of the greats. And like you said, if it's always odd when they would come out with these projects like DC animated movies or a video game and it wasn't Kevin, like it was just a different person. And it was just like so odd, like to hear you're just like, man, and I go back to that. I went to a shop on Friday of last week and the shop had Batman the Animated Series on. And I even said to the shop owner, I was like, oh, did you put on Batman because Kevin Conroy died? He's like, Kevin died? And I was like, yeah, they just announced this morning and he didn't even know. And we were just like watching the episodes like at the shop for, I was there for like an hour or so and just crazy. Like how he had a presence, like his voice had a presence. And like there's other actors and actresses or voice actors and actresses that are like that too, that in my head, like when they go, like it's just going to leave such a hole because me being a big DC fan, a huge Batman fan, and you too, like, playing all the games growing up, and even all of our listeners, like you all have a moment of Kevin Conroy that would probably stick out, I would think, at some point over the past 30 years. So it's definitely going to be a rough future going forward. So I don't think we'll ever have a better Batman voice than him. And more like Mark said as well. So wow. Let's move out of the doom and gloom into something positive. So speaking of DC, I think you got some Constantine news, which is popping right now.
There's a lot of talk right now. Constantine, obviously the first Constantine movie we saw with Keanu Reeves is way old at this point. It was like probably what, 2004, 2000, early 2000s. But there is a lot of talks about Constantine returning for a sequel film. Lots of conversations. One of the big caveats to this is the director is saying he's requiring a mature designation, like a rated R for a Constantine movie. So obviously we don't know a ton about it. We don't know plot. We don't know who else might be in it. We don't know if our friend Shia LaBeouf is going to come back as what's the name of his little sidekick?
Oh God, I remember that now that you just said that.
Dude, he's in the comics too.
I couldn't even tell you because I don't read too much of the Constantine unless he's with like Justice League Dark and Zatanna.
Right. So, but yeah, we don't know much, but they are saying that there will be a Constantine 2 with Keanu Reeves returning to play the titular role. But yeah, rated R. So, I mean, what are your thoughts, man? Did you like the first Constantine?
Oh yeah, there's some great things. Like it definitely, they talk about how it just skimmed under the radar of PG. Skimmed under the radar of an R rating, so it is into PG-13. But yeah, like for me at that point, like I didn't really know too much of Constantine. Like I knew him as just like Hellblazer. Like that's all I knew, and never really read anything. I didn't even think he was even in any of the Justice League shows in the 90s, right? I don't think he was in like Justice League or Justice League Unlimited. So when I saw this, I'm just like, this is cool. Like,
yeah,
I think it wasn't part of any universe. It was just like a standalone, like theatrical thing. I didn't read too much of that growing up, so I didn't know too much about him. But like, I love the movie. Like, you have, like you said, Shia LaBeouf, the actor, of course, who's been in every like Marvel and DC movie, who plays the Shazam wizard. What's his name?
Hansu. Yeah.
Oh my God, he's in like everything. I wonder if he's going to come back too, because he plays that doctor.
Yeah. He was a great Papa Midnight.
Yeah. He was cool. Like cool characters. You got freaking Gavin Rosdale from Bush, man. If you know that, like I thought he was so cool. Beelzebub, and it was just wild. That movie was crazy towards the end, and like even early 2000s, like when they go to hell, like just it was such ahead of its time. And I'm excited for it, man. If they stay dark and it can be done right, the way movies are done these days, it's going to be an awesome, magic user in that realm of horror for DC. What about you?
Yeah, Yeah, I'm the same way as you. I was not. I think this might have been my first like. I don't think I was reading DC at this time. I pretty much was only reading Marvel, and this might have been my first kind of introduction to Constantine. So I loved it. I thought it was really cool. I'm also grew up Roman Catholic, so anything that deals with like the devil and exorcism and like Jesus and spear, the spear that pierced the side of Jesus Christ, like all that shit really gets to me. Like I love that kind of stuff. So I really, really liked it. One of the things I find is extremely interesting about this, especially in this day and age too, is there's so many fans who are sticklers for like appearances for characters and stuff. And you look at Keanu Reeves looks nothing like a Constantine character, right?
Yeah.
Like not like Matt Ryan that we got in
of course, yeah.
Legends of Tomorrow, who like looks exactly like him pretty much and played a great Constantine role. Even Keanu Reeves Constantine isn't British at all. He doesn't have like the accent. It's just so different, and it was pretty well received, I feel like, by fans. I mean, I don't think it did super well theatrically, but I think for people like ourselves who look back on it, we look back on it fondly. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, Keanu Reeves is one of the last best actors out there that's not part of any comic book universe right now. And there's always been talk about him creeping into the Marvel universe. To see him like return to DC, and who knows? Well, I don't know if it'd be standalone or would they try to mix it into the DCEU. Who knows? Be very, very interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah, there's a lot of shakeup at DC, and I know we had it out on our docket last week to talk about this, but James Gunn tweeting out stuff like pictures, like showing his first tweet was Lobo, and then this week I saw Mr. Terrific, and people are immediately going out and buying like the first Omega Men #3 and Lobo #1,
getting hot again. Yeah,
and like nobody cares. Well, I mean, Mr. Terrific is a tough book to get because it's like the last issue of like Spectre from like the 90s, and like that book is like impossible to find in general. But yeah, like anytime now he posts anything, people are rushing because like he's like just teasing stuff out. And I do think that if they do bring back Constantine, like Keanu Reeves Constantine as it is, like he could do another movie, right? Throw him into Zatanna, throw him into Dr. Fate, something else. Like,
I mean, it's been talked about Justice League Dark for almost 5 years now, like them talking about Justice League Dark, but you can't do it without a character like John Constantine. You know what I mean? He's pretty much the head of Justice League Dark. And so this is like a good way to start it. And you have a great actor who can kind of carry a franchise as well with Keanu Reeves.
Oh, so, definitely.
As long as you don't expect him to cut his hair, because I don't think that John Wick hair is going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So good. Yeah, man. Matt Ryan too. Like he did the Constantine show, and then they brought him back for Legends of Tomorrow because just people loved him, and even he did all the voiceovers for all the animated stuff too. So it's like a continuation. Like I don't know if they'll do another one, but I'm sure DC will keep him if they do an animated movie. Because I mean, shit, he did the 2 Justice League Dark movies. He did his own little Constantine run. So interesting stuff, man.
Chaz Kramer. That's Shia LaBeouf's
character. Shia LaBeouf's character. He looked it up. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you. That would have been like. And then like who is Azrael?
Tilda Swinton was in it as Gabriel.
Yeah, that's who I was just gonna say because the guy from Bush, Gavin, plays Azrael, and then that's
Balthazar.
Balthazar. Yeah. I was trying to think of like what.
Gavin Rossdale.
Dude, so great, right?
What did he? Now I'm looking. Did he ever do anything else? Did he ever act in anything else? He was in Zoolander, but I think he played himself in Zoolander.
Yeah. But yeah, they got a lot of people from that movie went on to be Marvel, a lot of Marvel stuff. So
that's true. That is true.
So let's kind of continue our movie talk. I know we got another article, but we're flipping it onto the Marvel side. What do you got?
Yeah, so some Thunderbolts news. Nothing groundbreaking here, but they did talk to David Harbour, who's returning as Red Guardian. And he kind of talks about things to be excited about this new Thunderbolts. He said, it's really cool. We're introducing a thing that's super cool. It's vital. I'm psyched that Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character is going to be in a bigger way explored. One of the things you'll probably know is that me and Florence Dynamic will be in there and explored in a way that's really cool. But all these guys, Sebastian's character, Wyatt's character, I just love this mercenary element in the MCU. MCU has always been sort of elevated in a certain way. Captain America and even Iron Man, although he has his ego, are always in it for the right reasons or ultimately does the right thing. And I like that these guys who are a bunch of losers or a bunch of guys who can't quite get it right. And so far, what they've pitched me just feels really cool. So David Harbour kind of goes on to talk about how Thunderbolts is going to be something a little new. It's not going to be what you expect. New elements to the MCU and a good change. And he also talks a lot about, like he said in that quote, about Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character, which we saw in the return of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. So we know they're going a larger route with her character to flesh out. So,
yeah, and he also said he said that warning fans that a bomb will be dropped on the MCU. So
right, you know what's funny? What did I see? I'm trying to think what I saw. This stupid key collector posted some bullshit on Instagram. He quoted that David Harbour's like that a bomb will drop, and I think I think he took it literally, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't know. Is it going to be the Terrigen Mist bomb? Is it going to be the Gamma bomb?"
Saw that.
I was like, "Are you retarded? Like, he's not talking about an actual bomb, dude. Like, how out of touch with comics and reading can you actually be?" So.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be Mad Bomb. I don't think it'll be. I think it'll be like Red Hulk. I don't know. Like,
I think it's going to be something like it's like a metaphor. I don't think it's actual like an actual bomb. I think it's going to be like something groundbreaking, or so they think. Now, watch me be wrong. I have to eat my words or something.
That's fine.
It's going to be a bomb, but whatever.
But it's perfect. Like that team, the way, you know. And again, we did not think that would be the team. You know, we talked about it for when we did our recap for San Diego Comic-Con. Like, it's Suicide Squad. It's like Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, nobody thought like, really. Yeah, like who thought that this was going to be a movie? Like, okay, all right, we're going to go that route, and it's fine. Like, obviously, all the characters are already introduced, and how they're all going to get together is going to be fun. But I'm excited for the movie. I think you know, and if you listen to our Black Panther review, you hear me talk about the Thunderbolts thing. So
I kind of go up and down on that. Like, sometimes I'm excited, sometimes I'm like, meh. And then other times I'm like I read this article and I'm kind of like, okay, maybe something's going to happen. But then I'm like, oh, wait, I feel like they said this about Moon Knight and Ms. Marvel and all those shows that really didn't do shit either. And I'm like, do I really have faith? Like, how many times do I have to just be like burned by them? But I don't know. I hope the bomb is Baron Zemo, because this movie without Baron Zemo makes no fucking sense, dude, to me.
Yeah. Or again, Red Hulk. I mean, they're introducing, you know.
Maybe it will be a Gamma bomb. Maybe Key Collector is right for once. I mean, there's a Gamma bomb and Thunderbolt Ross transforms Red Hulk.
I just cannot believe Harrison Ford. That still blows my mind. Like,
yeah,
he hated his character of Han Solo. Like, he asked to be killed off. Like, and now you're in a franchise. Like, you stick with Disney. Like, how? I don't get it. Like, I'm sorry. I mean, I know he's never coming on this podcast, but like, really? Like,
hey, man, you don't know that.
You never know. I know. We'll get somebody to contact us about him. So,
right.
Anyway, let's kind of get out of that. Let's go ahead and talk some comic books. And speaking of comic books, I know this one is kind of right up Zach's alley. This is coming over from comicbook.com. You know, we got a little Ghost Rider action. Fan favorite Ghost Rider returns in a new Marvel series, and not that Ghost Rider, not Alejandro Jones, not Robbie Rodriguez. Mr. Johnny Blaze already has his current title. We're talking about the one, the only Frank Castle, the Cosmic Ghost Rider. So, of course, if you've been living under a rock over the past couple of years, Cosmic Ghost Rider was introduced via Frank Castle in Donny Cates' Thanos run, which is probably his best run of any comic book done by Donny Cates. You can quote me on that. But Cosmic Ghost Rider has had a few little mini-series here and there. Nothing particularly great. He's quirky. He's kind of like more of a Deadpool type of character if you've never read him. But a new series from writer, our friend Stephanie Phillips, who Zach and I met in the hotel elevator at Terrificon. Didn't know it was her. And then, of course, when we were on the floor, we were like, oh, that's the woman who was in the elevator with us. And artist Juan Cabal of Guardians of the Galaxy is going to be featuring Frank Castle's twisted spirit of vengeance for an alternate timeline that not only has the powers of the Ghost Rider, but of course the power cosmic. So Frank Castle made a deal with Mephisto in order to get some payback on Thanos, turning him into Ghost Rider. He later teamed up with Galactus and became a Herald, which is even where the Silver Surfer-like abilities come from. So, coming out in next year in March, we are getting finally an ongoing series for Cosmic Ghost Rider, which I think will probably be a better run because I hated how they had like those like quick little like 3 or 4 issue minis that you need to like start a story and immediately wrap up, and it doesn't really give you enough time, especially for a brand new character. Like I get how they are doing that because it's like they're brand new. Is this title really going to work? So let's try it out with like a mini. And it sold well because then he got another mini. But like, where's the ongoing? I guess finally we're going to get the ongoing coming in March. So I'm excited. I mean, they're calling it a limited series. Hopefully the limited series, who knows, right? Like I think hopefully it'll continue as an ongoing series. I'm a big fan of the Cosmic Ghost Rider. I thought he was great in Thanos. What about you, Zach? What are your thoughts on the Cosmic Ghost Rider? Being a Ghost Rider fan.
Yeah.
Do you even have his first appearance? Like, do you have that? Because I know you're a big
I did at one point. I did. I don't have it graded, and there's kind of a reason for that. I don't know. I'm still on the fence about it. It's really this. Sorry, who did you say was writing this?
Stephanie Phillips.
Okay.
Who does Harley Quinn right now?
Yeah. Oh man. Man, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it because I don't like Deadpool. I don't like Deadpool's quirkiness. I don't like the fourth wall breaking stuff. I don't like that kind of writing. And then you take a character. I mean, the idea of Cosmic Ghost Rider with like Frank Castle and like his origin story was so cool. I was like, damn, that's actually pretty crazy. But then they made him zany and like insane, and I didn't like it. And I was like, yeah, I'm not reading this. And I didn't read any of his like you said, the little mini series. Actually, that's not true. I read one where he had like baby Thanos for a while. Do you remember that shit?
Yeah, he had to go back because he wanted to go back in time and kill Thanos. Kind of like a baby Hitler thing.
Yeah, that was really dumb. I don't know, dude. I'll probably check it out. I'll give it a shot. Like I said, I like the idea of you're merging two of my favorite characters, the Punisher and Ghost Rider, into one. But I don't know, man. Stephanie Phillips, she's a great writer, but she writes Harley Quinn, which is DC's Deadpool. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. We'll see. I'm not super excited about it.
All right. Well, it comes out in March. I'm sure there's just going to be tons of different covers, but right now they do have a preview over at comicbook.com, so you can check out the article. So make sure if you're interested in this, pre-orders will probably start, I guess, next month, because that'll be either December or January will be starting pre-orders. So make sure you let your local comic shops know that you're interested in getting Cosmic Ghost Rider, the Cosmic Spirit of Vengeance. So we don't have too much to talk about on the comic book side, but I actually thought about this. Yeah. So Zach and I are now currently playing God of War Ragnarok, right?
Okay. Yes.
You just started.
I want to get back to it. I don't know what we're doing here. We need to end the show so I can get back to playing.
I know. Well, I said this last week because when we had Kevin from Shortbox on, you guys were interrupting my God of War. But now, hear me out.
Okay.
And someone needs to do this, and someone needs to pitch this to Kieran Gillen.
Okay.
Norse mythology comic book, like Once and Future.
Huh. Okay. Interesting. I like it. I'm not totally there. I like it though. I would actually rather see Roman. I'd rather see like the God of War stuff, like the actual like the Roman, because I feel like we get a lot of Norse mythology with like Thor and the recent stuff, and obviously all the Thor movies. We haven't really got a lot of Roman like god mythology lately. You don't hear about Poseidon very often. And I mean, we're gonna get what's it called? The TV show that's gonna come out.
I don't know.
Percy Jackson.
Oh, well, yes. Percy Jackson is.
But that whole like that's really cool stuff. So
yeah, but I mean, like a comic book that is done just like Once and Future was done with the Arthurian stuff. Yeah, but like with it's just done in like such a different way. Like I care more, obviously, because I hate the comedy that Thor has become. But like the storyline is just so good in this game.
Oh yeah,
like Loki, the giants. Jotunheim, Freya, like
Mimir, dude. I love Mimir.
Have you? I don't know if you've gotten to this point, but this is obviously not a spoiler. But have you gotten to the squirrel?
Yes, I've been to text you that. God, this is so lame. I got so excited when I saw the squirrel, and I meant to text you about it. Like, dude, the squirrel's badass.
Yeah, Ratataskar.
Ratatoskar or something.
Yeah, Ratataskar. Yeah. Like, I'm just like, he's so cool. Like,
He is so cool. He's like looks like a little swashbuckling son of a bitch, just
yeah.
running around on that tree.
But like, even like his storyline is cool. So like, he runs up and down the world tree and carries messages back and forth, and also cleans the top part of the world tree, and then the bottom part has those like whatever they're called. I forget what the dragons or whatever. Right. But see, like, there's such a good, like, they literally could make this into a comic book.
It's great. Oh,
Ken, if you're out there listening, get this thing started.
The game.
I know you can draw. I know you can draw. So let's do some Norse mythology.
Pitch
it Norse mythology. Get it pitched to someone. I want to see some.
Yeah, it's so much fun. The game is so much fun.
Yeah. So let's get back to it. Let's get this thing over with.
Wait, I do have some comic book news a little bit. So this is kind of probably for very niche people, but like obviously everyone knows, or a lot of people know, I'm a massive Coheed and Cambria fan. They have their own set of comic books and everything. Well, the lead singer Claudio Sanchez has a side band called Prize Fighter Inferno. And
I did not know this.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's only if you like Coheed.
I like Coheed. I just didn't know that he had a side project.
Yeah, and it's only one album called My Brother's Blood Machine, and it's kind of old at this point. I enjoy it very much, but Evil Inc. Comics is where he's kind of done a lot of his distribution for the Amory Wars. So yeah, you can actually go on their website, evilinc.com. You can order the first issue, and if you order from places like DCBS, like Justin and I do, you can actually pre-order for the month of November, issue number 2 as well for My Brother's Blood Machine. So Coheed fans, check it out. People who want to get into Coheed, do it. Check it out.
What's the name of their side project?
Prize Fighter Inferno. Prize like Prize.
Prize Fighter. Okay. I'm going to have to check that out. I'm a big fan of sometimes those side projects, like Corey Taylor from Slipknot has Stone Sour. Jesse Leach from Killswitch Engage, is one of my favorite bands. He has Times of Grace, or that's like his little side project, and that's like so good.
Maynard has like 4.
Oh God, yeah, right? Please.
Perfect Circle, Pussifier, like all of them are so great too.
Yeah, it's wild sometimes when you find out that they have like those side projects. You're like, oh, okay. Like, I feel like, and now we're gonna go off on a rock and roll music tangent, but like I feel like when like Slipknot did that, like when Corey did, like, I'm like, wow, this is like a completely different thing. Usually it's like still the same type of music, which is different people, but like I remember when like Stone Sour came out and some people like hated it, but you're like, yo, this guy's got such a range or voice.
Stone Sour is very different than Slipknot for sure. It's definitely more ballady rather than like the hard rock of like Slipknot in a way. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Anyway,
well,
but yeah,
let's finish up the show with, of course, what are we currently reading? Of course, we're dropping this on Fridays, but we're recording on Wednesdays, so we had to rush and go ahead and read some good stuff this week. What about what you want to start off?
Yeah,
I know you're a big guy getting all the books and.
I didn't get a ton this week, so
okay, good, because I feel like the same way. Like I feel like there wasn't that much.
And there's one book that they forgot to put in my box, and I didn't realize till I got home that I didn't get it, and I got to go try to get it tomorrow. But we'll
put it in my box.
Yeah. So, hot garbage of the week. Let's start with that. So, it's going to be a bit of a tie. I'm super happy Gambit is ended. Gambit 1 through 5, written by Chris Claremont. You've probably heard me complain about that before on this podcast. I just did not enjoy it. Glad it's over with. The other super unfortunate hot garbage that I was actually really looking forward to, and I didn't realize it was a one shot, but now I very much am glad it is it was only a one shot, was the Blade Vampire Nation. It's like a spinoff of Avengers. And if you haven't been reading Avengers, Jason Aaron's Avengers, the vampires, Dracula, have been given like Chernobyl in Russia and have made like a vampire nation. And Blade is the sheriff of said vampire nation. So I was kind of like I was like, oh, this could be really cool. I'm excited to read this. And it was boring, dude. It sucked. Like, I just was like, meh. And then I was like, damn it. Cause I was like, wow, I can't wait to read an ongoing Blade title. And then I saw it was a one shot after not enjoying the issue. And I was like, oh, fuck, thank God, dude. Like, cause I don't think I could continue to buy this book.
Oof.
So pick of the week, man. I don't know. I guess I'm gonna have to go with Immortal X-Men #8. Immortal X-Men's probably my favorite X-Men title right now. It's just so good, focusing on the Quiet Council. Um, this issue definitely delves deeper into kind of the interactions between Destiny, Mystique, and Mr. Sinister, and how they are three of the most like the oldest mutants that have been around for the longest time, and even like way back in 1800s how they interacted, and you can tell it's setting things up for the Sins of Sinister that we're going to see the event later next year.
Nice.
So I really like it. I'm loving Immortal X-Men written by Kieran Gillen, which duh. um so that's probably my pick a week. What about you?
So I have honorable mention. My honorable mention this week is surprisingly that the Star Wars Hidden Empire #1 actually was a good.
That's the one I didn't get this week.
Okay, yeah, it was actually really good. Charles Soule is always probably the best writer for Star Wars since the Marvel reboot with all the Darth Vader stuff and the previous title that he did. But obviously this is the trilogy. It was War of the Bounty Hunters and then Crimson Reign, and now this is the final part. But a lot happens in this first issue. You get a little bit more of like a backstory of the time when like Darth Maul was like leading the charge of Crimson Dawn. There's some stuff that is almost like it starts off in the future. And it's not really a spoiler, but there's like these two hidden shadows that you don't know if they're Sith, Jedi, what, and how far in the future it is. But it's basically starts off with that character, the Archivist, telling the story of Lady Kira and the Crimson Reign. But yeah, first appearances are in there, so make sure you pick it up. I'd say get some high ratio variants. First appearance of Inferno Squadron. They were part of the Battlefront video game. But yeah, it's really an interesting book. Like, it starts off pretty hot and heavy with basically Kira battling it between Palpatine, and it almost starts off like, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but you know how like Last Jedi starts with like an immediate battle?
Yes.
Like that's literally how it starts off with like the Empire is just completely looking for them, and like opening issue is just like a crazy battle between Crimson Dawn and the Empire. Like it's pretty wild, and there's some things that happen in this issue that I think really set up for the not the prequel, the sequel movies. So I'm gonna have to see where the next couple issues go, but I think Charles Soule is gonna write this really well, this final trilogy for the Crimson Dawn era. So that's my honorable mention. Go ahead.
No, I'm excited to read that. I was really pissed that it wasn't in my box of books this week. And
well, believe me, I really wasn't. I mean, obviously being a Star Wars guy, I'm picking them up, but like I was not a fan of the Crimson Reign. Like
it was better than Bounty Hunters.
Well, yes, but yeah, I mean, but Bounty Hunters wasn't really that much better. Yeah, but like this one's at least so far, like I'm enjoying it. Like this one issue probably for me already outdoes the entire series of War of the Bounty Hunters and Crimson Reign. So
I actually enjoyed Crimson Reign because it really kind of set up like this idea that they have sleeper agents everywhere, and I thought it like really set up Crimson Dawn as like going to be this thorn in the Empire side. It floundered like most Marvel events do in the middle.
And I feel like this is I don't know. I don't recall that this one actually has like tie-ins right now. Like I know Dr. Aphra is not a tie-in as of right now. Like I don't think Star Wars and Darth Vader have real tie-ins. Like I think they're actually, this is like probably the one title that they're finally just gonna, it's not like you have to buy those issues to continue the story. Like it'll just be Hidden Empire, like 1 to 5. And it's gonna, maybe some of the characters, because obviously the main cover, if you look at the main cover, it's got Kira on the front, but it also has like Vader, Aphra's on there, the Knights of Ren are on there, Ochi. So like, where's Aphra going to fit in at some point into this, unless they bring her from her title? But I hope not, because she's doing her own thing, like in her series. So
I feel like what's going on in her series, which I haven't really been reading too much now, I kind of feel like I need to go back and read it. Seems to be pretty big with her character because there's definitely a lot of Sith interaction there, and I feel like it gives vibes that it's going to play into Crimson Reign pretty strongly because of all the Sith stuff going on in Dr. Aphra.
Yeah, I mean, if that definitely could. So, I mean, again, we're going to have to find out and see like if it's really going to cross over in a way, or is it just you can just read just Hidden Empire. But I like the idea of just being able to read Hidden Empire right now. So there was a great Arthur Adams cover. There was a 1 in 50 like Darth Maul, which I didn't pre-order, but I still may pick up at some point. So
nice.
So honorable mention, and then pick of the week, surprisingly, and I can't believe I'm really going to say this because I didn't fall into the hype of this book, but I Hate Fairyland Volume 2, Number 1. Like, I know we kind of talked about it last week with Kevin on here. Mm-hmm. You know, from Shortbox, they have their own variant, so you can go ahead and grab that by Maria Wolf. And there's no plug to them because Kevin was on here last week. But like, I love the first series and nobody cared about it. And then this series, everybody, you know, all these ratio variants and all these like exclusive variants come out. And it's so funny that like nobody cared about Scotty Young, his writing and art last time around. But like this time around, like he's writing it, he created the character, but there's actually a different artist on that. This time around, it's I have it Brett Bean, and it's still very cartoony. It's still very funny. It's got that whole like Disney look to it, and still very crazy. Like if you read it, like it's all about this character. Her name is Gretel. She basically goes to this fairyland. She spends 30 years there. She grows up in her mind, but she still stays like a young kid. But yeah, this first issue is pretty wild. You get a good recap of the first series, but now she's in the real world and she can't get a job because she has no idea what to do. And but the things that like she kind of reminds me of like a Harley Quinn, like things that she wants to do, you see it play out, but then you realize that all this stuff was like in her mind, like her trying to beat the crap out of like people, and then realizing like 3 panels down, it's like, no, that didn't really happen. So I think it's really good. I recommend it. But again, I think if you haven't read this first series, I highly recommend going out and getting the first series because there's a lot of cool stuff that happens if you're into like crazy, weird Disney stuff. So pick of the week, definitely I Hate Fairyland, Volume 2, Issue Number 1. Go out there and support your local comic shops. Go ahead and grab those covers. And there are some pretty dope variants. You know, Jenny Frizen did one, Art Germ, Peach, Joe Mad, and a couple other people. So pick of the week, I Hate Fairyland because I hate Disneyland. Not really, but
don't say that, man. You'll get fucking hit list. Put on a hit list.
Oh, please.
Statements.
So that is our season 2, episode 45 of the Comic-Con podcast. Again, please, if you have not checked out Black Panther, do not listen to our bonus content. But when you do check out Black Panther, definitely go back and listen to our review because Zach and I do probably one of our longest reviews with just him and myself, I would say. We definitely do a nice deep dive into that. So, and again, if you do listen to the podcast review and you want to send us your thoughts and did you hate it? Did you like it? Feel free to slip into our DMs or email, and you know where you could always find us. So that's it for me. Of course, you could always find me doing a Whatnot sale probably. So that's all I got. What do you got, man?
Nothing, man. Just looking forward to Thanksgiving coming up. We're rounding out the end of the year. Season 2 coming to a close here. Hoping, you know, who knows what kind of no big movies on the horizon. No comic book movies until nothing at the end.
Yeah, the only thing that we got. So probably next week we're going to be recording probably early because of Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Andor is ending next week, and then Willow starts up on Disney Plus.
Yep.
And then the Blue people are coming back at the end of the year.
The Blues. So yeah, well, there's not. I mean, hopefully something will hit. I'm sure there'll be some end of the year comic book community drama that we'll have to get into or something. But yeah, that's it. Gears of War. I mean, not Gears of War. I'm reading an article.
Oh boy.
Right now. God of War. God of War. I got to get back to it. And then Crisis Core. That's the other game this year.
My next game will be Forspoken. That comes out in January or February. So, all right, everybody. Thanks so much for checking us out. Peace.
Later.